Markets on Air with a focus on ASEAN, Southeast Asia, big market with huge potential. 600 million people in 10 countries with an average economic growth rate of 5%. That is ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. ASEAN is a large community made up of many dynamic countries, including Myanmar, the Philippines, and Indonesia. ASEAN was founded in 1967. Starting last year, the organization became an economic zone modeled on the European Union. ASEAN member states now share a common market for goods, services, capital, and labor. Trade barriers and tariffs still in force are meant to be eliminated in the long term in order to facilitate trade.
Good business. German companies counting on Asia. At this Bosch training center in Vietnam, the tech company is passing on German standards to the next generation of Vietnamese industrial mechanics. Bosch says the investment will pay off.
The main challenge is the war for talent. So that's first of all acquiring skilled workforce, keeping skilled workforce, and increasing productivity of that workforce as well.
Bosch is active throughout the ASEAN region, running its own production facilities in most member nations. The company has invested more than 160 million euros in Vietnam alone. Along with Bosch, many other German companies also consider ASEAN one of the world's most important growth markets. In 2015, Germany exported goods worth a total of 23 billion euros to the ASEAN region, 16% more than in the previous year. Cars, machinery and electronics made in Germany are in demand throughout Southeast Asia. The region's growing energy needs pose a particular challenge. Take Manila, for instance. Up to 30 million people are expected to live in and around the Philippine capital by 2030. The city desperately needs green technology in order to sustain that growth.
123 billion euros. That's how much foreign direct investment poured into the ASEAN region in 2014. Foreign companies have more than tripled their investments in Southeast Asia over the past 10 years. Most of the foreign capital invested in the region ended up in Singapore, Indonesia, and Thailand.
Asia-Europe Summit in Mongolia. German Chancellor Angela Merkel and European Council President Donald Tusk called for closer cooperation between the EU and Asian countries at a meeting of political leaders in Mongolia. At this year's Asia-Europe meeting, talks focused on the future of connectivity. Leaders urged the expansion of transport and communication networks between the two regions, also pushing for the establishment of common standards of digitization.
Made in Germany tops the list. When it comes to popularity around the world, nothing beats goods and services imported from Germany. A survey of consumers in 15 countries carried out by the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland found that German products rank #1 internationally, especially when it comes to product image and quality. Second place went to Switzerland itself, followed by Japan.
Frankfurt. Nearly all the world's major banks are represented here in Germany's financial capital. The city's famous skyline includes the tower of the European Central Bank, where Europe's top monetary authorities keep their watch. 70,000 of Frankfurt's 500,000 inhabitants work in the financial sector, and the city hopes to increase that number in the future.
We have fantastic infrastructure with the airport, along with Europe's biggest internet exchange point. 75% of our banks are international, and 40% of the people here come from other countries. The city of Frankfurt is open to the world.
Compared to other European financial centres, Frankfurt is rather small. But when Britain leaves the EU, some experts here expect Frankfurt to gain importance in the European world of finance.
Frankfurt is already in a good position. We're practically the third European capital after Brussels and Strasbourg, and in the future, every global financial institution will be here.
But Frankfurt is more than just a city of bankers. It's also home to industry, IT and trade fairs. And when the day's business is done, the bankers, tourists and locals all come together to enjoy the city's hospitality. That was Markets on Air.